What's up, everybody? I'm Brian from Tesla, and today we're going to try to debunk something. This came up a while ago when the P3Ds first hit the market in, July, I think it was? Somewhere right around there. A lot of people said, I think Tesla slowed down the rear-wheel drive Model 3 because they didn't want it to be so close to the P3D. Well, I haven't noticed anything, and it kind of went away. I didn't see too many tests on it, or I didn't see anybody really testing it because they were really testing the Performance Model 3. So it kind of went away, but it's recently popped back up, and someone messaged me on Twitter and asked if I can redo the test that I did before. Well, before I had one of those draggy GPS tracking devices. Well, I sent that back to the company, but I can still do that same test at the same exact place, setting up a camera, using the video to time out 0 to 60, because I'll be able to see the screen, and when I start moving, and also when I hit 60 miles an hour, and we can bracket that off and see exactly 0 to 60 speed, or really close to it. I'm warming up the battery and warming up the motor and everything, so it's fair. It's the same thing. But before, I did 0 to 60 in 4.71 seconds from a standstill with slip start on. So we're going to do the same thing. Do a couple tests and see how close we are. Alright, so I've set up the camera here, and I just did a drive-by back and forth, just not an actual drive-by. I just drove around the industrial complex here. This is really a NASCAR facility area, so there's not too much going on a Saturday. So we're going to switch to this camera right now. Right here was the spot we started from last time. It's in hill hold, and go. Do it one more time here, and then we will review the footage. Come to a complete stop and go. All right, so I have no idea at this point. I'm going to review the footage, and I'll cut to that right now. Okay, this is Final Cut, where I edit the videos of Final Cut Pro, and this is how I did the first run. I was recording, and I was able to throw a timer up here on the top. I started the timer as soon as I started moving, and I went frame by frame, and you can see right there is 0, and I'm starting to move. You can see the front of the car lift a little bit. So once I got all the way to 60 miles an hour, it was 4.52 seconds. That was on the first run. The second run, I did the same exact thing. You can see it's on hill hold, and then it goes to 0, and then the car starts lifting. It's 2 frames. It starts to move here, and then 1 frame. The next frame is really when the car starts moving. You can see it jumps pretty good. And that was the second run at 4.53 seconds. First one was 4.52 seconds. So very similar. Good results. These were at 95% state of charge. You really can't see that too well right there. This is filmed at 60 frames per second, and that's what this is. So I was able to go off of that. Well, I thought that might not be correct. I went back out on the road, and I ended up put my iPad on the bottom here with a counter running. So what I would do is I would start the counter before I started moving. Like right here, I started the counter, and then I'm in hill hold, and then right here, I slam on the accelerator. And if you go frame by frame, you can see that the car jumps up quite a bit, just like before. And then at 3.80, I recorded that number. And then once I got to 60 miles an hour, I recorded that number. I was at 60 for a couple. This was the first time I hit 60 miles an hour, and that was at 8.7. Puts this run at 4.90 to 60. But this was at a lower rate of charge. Right here, this rate of charge was at 78%. which does drop the speed a little bit. That's why this was 4.9. Still better than what Tesla advertises. All right, the second run, I do the same thing, starting from the same spot. I put it in hill hold, press start on the iPad, and then start to move. This second run was 4.93 seconds, 0 to 60. So looking at these numbers, obviously Tesla has not slowed down the rear-wheel drive Model 3. In fact, I think it has gotten a little faster, because if you look, the first run I did at 95% battery and same road, same spot and everything like that. But the first run was 4.52 seconds and the second run was pretty much the same. Now I was clocking it from as soon as the hood started to move up a little bit on the car. I think that's when the car starts to move. I was going off of when the car said 60, from when I could see it say 60, the first frame that it said 60 on it. And I was shooting at 60 frames per second, 1080p at 60 frames per second. I did that second, or I guess the third and fourth run with the stopwatch on the iPad. And those obviously got a little bit higher numbers, or slower numbers, I should say, because the state of charge was that much lower. If you look at Sasha's video from Mountain Pass Performance, he did a video a while ago where he took the same kind of car, same Model 3, he put it on a dyno, and at 30% battery, he ran a dyno test, and he did it all the way up to 95%. And he actually found that between 90 and 95%, there is really no power loss. There's no change in power. He actually saw that the initial torque is the same all the way up. It really depends on the state of charge that you have on the battery for when the power actually comes off. So the difference between 95% and 75% that he tested is going to be, I think 95% is you're going to have full power all the way up to 60 miles an hour, and 75% you're going to be at full power all the way up to 50 miles an hour. That's the 0.4 difference that I got between those two runs. So I think Tesla has not slowed down this car at all. They've actually made it a little faster. The first test I ran a long time ago when I first got this car, I charged it to 100%. We know from Sasha's video that it doesn't make a difference, but I got 4.7.1, and now at 95%, I got 4.5.2, and it's the same exact car. I have not done anything different except for change the brake pads out to some track pads. I have done nothing else to this car. No suspension, no wheels, no tires, nothing else has changed since then. Just 15,000 miles. So to answer your question, they have not slowed it down. I think this car could have a lot more in it. I think it's software limited, and I think they can open this car up in the future. Maybe, what did they call that before? Uncorking? Maybe they can uncork this car so we can actually get this down to 4.0. I think it's possible. Maybe without traction control, this car can go a little faster. If you have a rear-wheel drive Model 3, don't be worried. It's not getting any slower. You're just getting used to the power. That's what it is. I think that's what the problem is. It's just like when you go 100 miles an hour on the highway and then you slow down to 70, you feel like you're going slow. You're just getting used to it, and it's not a bad thing. Stay awesome, stay positive, subscribe to the channel, and I want to say happy birthday to my beautiful wife, Karen. It's her birthday today. I think she's 29 again. Hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow.